In today's video, we're going to be talking about the KG Survival Kit. So the first part about the KG Survival Kit is actually the pack itself. It has some mole straps right here so that you can web things onto it. Here has a Velcro strip where it actually has a KG patch, and you can put other patches there if you want to. On the back, it has some more mole, and then it actually has one that you can use to attach to other things that has mole. If you don't know, mole is kind of just like this webbing right here. And we actually have this on the KG backpack, so you can actually hook this straight onto the front of the backpack. The Gen 2 is camo, so that'll help a little bit more if you're trying to, you know, be low-key about it. Opening up the survival kit, we have a ton of different things in here. First thing we pull out is an adult-sized poncho. It does what ponchos do. It keeps you dry if it starts raining or if it gets really windy. It comes out and it's essentially a plastic bag that goes over your body to just like make you completely waterproof. Plus, it does come with this little piece of paper. You can use this to help you start a fire. And plus, this thing's super lightweight. And since it is essentially just a human-shaped plastic bag, you could rig this up above you somehow to even make a waterproof shelter. But for the poncho part, you'll put it on just like this. Oh, and like that. And so now, whatever you're wearing is essentially waterproof because the water should just shed off of you on the outside. It's not a long-term solution, but in a survival situation, which is usually short-term, it's a whole lot better than getting soaked. Next up, we have this tactical pen. It works just like a pen would, however, it also has this big spike on the end, so that if you need to stab some things, you need to crush some things, this will be able to do it. Also in here, we added an all-weather notebook, which is actually waterproof because, well, if you're out there surviving, you're going to want to write down some notes. Otherwise, you're going to get really lonely. OMG, this is so cool. Perfect. And this notepad comes like a ton of different pages, and plus it is grid paper, which is really awesome in case you need to map your way out of a sticky situation. Next up is a wire saw. Obviously we can't put a full saw in here, but we can put this because it folds up super small and it's super lightweight and it still gets the job done. Come on over here and I'll show you how this works. Alright, so we're going to use this as an example. Essentially, you take your saw, wrap it around whatever you're trying to cut, grab these two rings with your fingers, and your objective is to just go back and forth. You can actually see how effective it is. Sometimes it'll get sticky, but hey, that's part of using a wire saw. And then it'll weaken enough you can actually do that. And if you do put a little outward pressure on it, it actually makes it even easier to cut. Just like that. So when you do try to use this, if you're cutting this way, see if you can put a little top pressure on it. That way it'll go ahead and open it up as you cut into it. Then once you're done, super easy, you just curl it right back up like it was and then store it back in your pack. Next we have this tactical spoon. Yeah, tactical spoon, survival spoon, whatever you want to call it. But it's kind of like a spork, so it's a spoon and a fork. Then when you slide it off, it's actually a knife. There's a hook right here. It has this right here. Probably it's not sharp enough to cut anything, and then it does have these holes right here. That's for you to just simply get creative. Now, on the knife cover, we actually made it specially designed. It's not just a knife cover, it's actually a whistle. If you're straight up surviving, this is one of the most important things, because if someone's 50 yards away, maybe you've been out there, you're too tired to yell at them, you pull out your whistle and you blow, and it makes a loud noise. That really comes in handy. This may be one of the most important features of this whole thing. Next up, we have an emergency blanket. It's made out of some kind of foil which retains heat super well. Kind of like tin foil, honestly. And it's also reflective, which could come in handy if you're trying to gather the attention of someone from a decent distance away. It's super thin, but it is big enough for you to get under. Or, like I was saying kind of with the poncho, if you're not needing a thermal blanket, you could even put it over top of you somehow, because this thing will repel water and shed it off pretty good. So you could actually use this for a little shelter if you had to. Plus, like I was saying, if there's a plane or something, you could probably wave this and maybe get their attention. That's not what it's made for, but in a survival situation, all your items, if you can, try to get them to have as many uses as you can. And so just knowing that, hey, not only is this a heat blanket, but it's also a super reflective thing. Like, are you seeing a big reflection, Abram?
Yep.
Is it catching your eye?
Yep.
That's the point. Up next is some necessities that you may not actually think of in the moment. It's a basic first aid kit. Here we have 2 wound pads. We have 5 basic size band-aids and then 10 alcohol pads. These will be good for cleaning, but guess what? Alcohol burns pretty good. You can use these to help start your fire. And don't forget, all the packaging can also be used if you need it. Next up, we have 16.5 feet of paracord. Paracord is a super strong cordage, and in a survival situation, it should be able to hold everything that you'll need. 16.5 feet should be a really good start for you. And this is extremely strong too. And if you need to, inside paracord is a bunch of different layers. And to show you that, I'm actually pulling out the multi-tool pliers. They are small, but they're also compact, lightweight, and they're still big enough to get the job done. They come out into standard pliers, and inside the handle they have all these different tools. That small knife right there, this little screwdriver, this little saw blade, and that can opener. Then whenever you're not using them, you just simply put them back in there. And on the other side, we have a knife for doing standard knife things, a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, and a small file. For this one, I'm going to use a small knife so that I can actually show you what's on the inside of paracord. On the inside of the paracord, there's all these separate little fibers, which can be taken away from inside the paracord and made into each of their individual ropes. If you don't need the full strength of the full cord, you may just want to pull off one of these. And you can also use this for fishing line if you need to. Speaking of fishing, it also comes with its own fishing kit. Now, you do got to be a little careful with this because the line in here can get tangled pretty easy if you're not super careful. The first part of the kit is actually 2 small bobbers. Then you have the fishing line itself. There's 2 different rolls of it. One's heavier, one's a little bit lighter. As for the terminal tackle, we have 2 small egg sinkers, 2 hooks, one for smaller fish, then one heavier wire and wider gap for larger fish, and then these 2 snap swivels. Then we have this paracord bracelet. The main part of the bracelet is made out of paracord, which you can unwind if you need to. Then for the buckles, it has another whistle right here. It has a compass in case you need to try to pathfind your way out of it somewhere. And then it actually has a built-in flint and steel. So check this out, or ferrule rod and steel technically. But you can bring it right here and you should be able to throw a little bit of flame. You ready? Now, since we know that doing this is a lot harder than it is in the TV shows, we actually included this emergency lighter right here. Now this may not look like much, but this is literally one of the most important things in your survival kit. Check it out. It is a lighter container, and what you need to do as soon as you get it is get some lighter fluid. You can get it at Walmart, Amazon, you can get it at different places. Fill this up, alright? As it comes, it does not have fuel. Then on this piece, it has a little fabric there, then it has this little thing, and then on the side, you just strike it. This thing, since it has oil on it, it'll just sit there and it'll burn for like 20 seconds and a big old tall flame. Here's a video of it. Like I was saying with this one, since it currently doesn't have any fuel, it's not going to do you much good. So don't forget to fill this up.
Whoa, did you see that? Look at this, super much.
Next we have this life card thing. It's built from stainless steel, comes with this little thing so it'll actually tell you what they're used for if you don't know, or you can use this to start a fire. And then here is the card itself. On this card it has a can opener, knife edge, screwdriver, ruler, cap opener, 4-position wrench, butterfly wrench, saw blade, 2-position wrench, lanyard hole. And keep in mind guys, that's just what this thing's labeled as. You can come up with a lot more uses just by being creative. Next we have this little like piece of string. It's not paracord, but it is just a little piece of string. You never know, you can really never have too much string. Then you have your dedicated ferrule rod and striker. What we were sure in this kit was to include redundancy for things that are really important. And fire is really important. So just in this one kit, you have this way to get fire, then you have this way to get fire, you have this way to get fire. And so we wanted to make sure that if one thing went down, you still got a way to make fire. But this, just like the other one, you just throw a flame like that. Next up is actually one that fell out of the fishing kit, but check it out. It has a little plastic lure, just in case you're having a hard time finding live bait. You can use this to catch a few fish. Then we have 2 more items. We'll go ahead and pull them out together. First, a little small carabiner. You never know what you can use that for. You can use it for literally anything. You just gotta be creative and think about it. And then we have these 2 stems right here, which are specially made to help you with fire. These are super small fibers. Once you unravel them, you can unravel them even more. Then you can untwist those, and they actually have wax on them. That way they burn better and longer. These are really good for starting the fire because you just want to get all these fibers, untangle them. You want to stretch each little fiber out on its own so you have maximum surface area to actually catch a flame. And I'll show you what I mean right here. Let me pull one and I'll see if I can start a mini fire right here. No promises, but I'll try my best. So first, I'm going to just unravel this as much as I can. Then once I unravel it this much, I'm going to unravel it even more. I want to get this thing to where it is every single little fiber is exposed like that. That's what we want. We want more of that. We want it to start looking like little birds' nests in there. And then we can wad it up. And if we can throw a little flame right in there, that should catch on fire pretty easy. See? Just like that. That's a good little fire, especially if you have other sticks right there all around it. They can definitely get you a fire started pretty easy. These are super important. Now, as for the contents of the KG Survival Kit, that is all there is. But the KG Survival Kit, especially the pack, was specially made to be larger than it actually needed. That is so you can actually add whatever you want to into your kit. For example, if you live down in Florida, you're probably not going to worry too much about an extra heat blanket, but you may want to add in a few more of your favorite fishing lures since there's a ton of fish in Florida. Same thing with Alaska. Probably not going to add in another fishing kit. You may worry about a fire, you may worry about a shelter, you may worry about heat a little bit more. For me here in Kentucky, I like to add in an extra little box bag like this just for fishing because there's a lot of water here, there's a lot of fish. I also like to add in a KG pocket knife. This little multi-tool does a good job, but out here in the woods, just a little extra knife in there helps a ton. Also, a little extra rope never hurt anybody. If you can get your hands on it, add yourself in a live straw or some kind of way to get fresh, clean water. If you want to pick up a KG Survival Kit for yourself, just go ahead and click the first link in the description. Check them out.